Have you ever felt like your CRM is missing key data, or your AI workflows keep returning results that just don't look right? Before blaming the automation, workflow, or the AI model itself, we need to ask one other question. Are you actually using the right data provider for what you are doing? One thing I've learned after spending years in the B2B data space is there is no single best provider. The right choice depends entirely on your use case. A revenue operation team enriching CRM records needs something very different from a data team buying raw data sets. Or a sales team building lead lists has different requirements than an AI agent that needs structured, clean responses in real time. Even if this is the case, still, most buyers start asking which is the best provider, which provider has the best data. In reality, the question should be which provider gives me the data and files my workflows actually need at a cost I can realistically scale. And I don't know if you're aware of that, but that distinction matters more than ever. Company data is no longer just used for prospecting lists. Today, it powers lead routing, account scoring, personalization, total addressable market mapping, enrichment workflows, and increasingly AI agents. And when the underlying data is wrong, every workflow built on top of it becomes less reliable. Let's talk about some most common use cases and explain which providers are best suited for each. Before naming any provider or a specific use case, let's start with the types of company data APIs. The first one is real-time company enrichment API, which means that you provide a domain and it returns a full company profile. The second one, company search API, it enables you to find companies that match filters or descriptions. The third one is raw dataset feeds, which delivers company or people data in bulk. And finally, jobs or hiring APIs. They return job posting and hiring signals. So even before choosing a provider, you need to understand what type of company data API you need. And it starts by naming your workflow. We need company data is a very broad explanation of your workflow, but you need to be more specific, like we need to enrich 5,000 companies per month and send clean JSON to our AI agent. This can be specific enough to evaluate which type of API you need and which provider you're going to use. So naming your workflow was the first step, and once you know about your data needs, it becomes much more easier to choose the type of data API you need or the provider. And as we already told, there is no single best provider. Some providers are leading on LinkedIn coverage, some are good at enrichment depth, or some are giving you hiring or job signals that you need. So what we're going to do is that find the use case and match it with the provider that's well suited for data needs of that workflow. CompanyEnrich, Crustdata, People Data Labs, Coresignal, or ContactOut. Let's find yours. The first and one of the most common use cases is real-time CRM enrichment. Your sales or revenue operation team needs company data the moment a lead comes in. So industry, tech stack, location, employee count, there can be different needs of data for every lead that comes in, and it needs to be fast, it needs to be reliable, and it needs to cover the kinds of domains in your actual ICP. For this use case, CompanyEnrich is one of the strongest fits. So based on the benchmark that we run on different providers based on different domains, we found that CompanyEnrich has the highest find rate at 67.6% and the deepest average profile of 17.9 out of 28 tracked files. The numbers that matters most for this use case isn't just the find rate in isolation, it's the combination of the find rate plus file depth. That's why I wanted to mention the average profile depth of CompanyEnrich, because it's the combination of two of these that makes it meaningful for a CRM to be enriched properly. A profile that comes back with 3 files doesn't help you route a lead in your CRM. The second use case I want to mention is raw data sets and bulk data. Different use case entirely. So your data team needs to load company records into a warehouse, build a reference data set, or train a model. You're not making API calls in real time, you're licensing a bulk feed delivered through different methods. For these use cases, People Data Labs, Crustdata, and Coresignal are the better fit. They are built around dataset delivery models, not just real-time enrichment or search endpoints. The other use case I want to mention is more linked to LinkedIn URL coverage. So some teams specifically need LinkedIn company page URLs for prospecting, enrichment, waterfalls, or for data validation. So this is very narrow requirement, but it comes up often. So we also evaluated this use case and find out in the benchmark that People Data Labs has the highest LinkedIn URL coverage, returning 60% of the submitted domains, and CompanyEnrich follows it with 55.6% find rate. So two of these providers can be good fit for this use case. The fourth use case I want to mention is revenue data needs. So revenue data is one of those files that everybody wants, but nobody covers perfectly because it's one of the hard ones. And based on the benchmark, we found that ContactOut and Crustdata at 45% revenue file coverage sits in the first two providers that could cover revenue data needs. So we can say that two of these providers can be well suited for any revenue data related workflows. The other use case we're mentioning is jobs and hiring signals. This one is mostly for GTM teams that use hiring as a signal, like new headcount in engineering means company is scaling, new VP of sales hire means a territory is opening up, or hiring a data team means a company is maturing. Also relevant for recruiting and investment research. And based on the providers and the benchmark we run, Crustdata and Coresignal are the strongest fits here. Crustdata has a watcher API that lets you subscribe to company or person changes and get webhook notifications. And very similarly, Coresignal is built for data teams and jobs API workflow. The other use case that excites me most is AI agent workflows. This is the newer one and growing very fast. Almost all of us are building something, any automation or workflow with AI. And if the workflow that you are building needs to look up company information for routing decisions, personalization, account scoring, or research workflows, the requirements are a bit different from traditional enrichment endpoints or bulk data sets. You need a clean JSON responses, you need low latency, you need a stable API schema, you need the ability to do semantic search, not just domain lookup. And if you are using an MCP compatible agent client, native MCP support saves a lot of engineering time. CompanyEnrich is one of the providers focusing here. They provide an MCP server, semantic company search, no rate caps, and the API is designed for repeated lookups inside agent workflows. One of the other use cases, which is also my personal favorite, is lookalike and similar company discovery. If your workflows start from a seed account, it might be a dream customer, a close won deal, a competitor's customers, and you need to find companies that look like it. That's a different product than an enrichment. So the most providers in this list don't have this at all. CompanyEnrich has a dedicated similar companies API built for exactly this. You send a company, you get back a ranked list of lookalikes based on industry, size, description, and other signals. It's a very useful endpoint for town building, prospecting, and expanding account lists from a seed set. Let's go through each provider quickly and which use cases they are strong at. So CompanyEnrich is perfect for real-time enrichment, AI agent workflows, lookalike discovery, which other providers don't provide. Social URL coverage is very high, and the broad GTM workflows are perfect for using CompanyEnrich. It has the highest find rate and the deepest profile in the benchmark. When it comes to people data labs, they are good at raw data sets. They have high coverage of LinkedIn URLs, and also they provide corporate relations and employee count at a successful level. So it is very strong when you need bulk data or offline feeds, along with some other specific data needs like LinkedIn, corporate relations, or employee count. The other one, Crustdata, is perfect for hiring signals, job data. They have the voucher API, so perfect for workflows that needs webhooks and notifications, and also their revenue coverage is good. They are best when company events and change monitoring are the trigger. Coresignal, also great for their jobs API, offline data set, data team workflows. They are a very good matched profile app, even with a lower find rate. And finally, ContactOut is good for contact-centric workflows, follower count, and revenue coverage. Their company enrichment profile is narrower, but have some specific files which makes them perfect for some use cases. All right, before we go, let's go step by step how to name your workflow, understand your data needs, and choose a provider that's well suited for that use case. So, first step, write down your actual workflow. I need company data is not a sufficient explanation of what you're going to expect from a data provider. You need to be more specific, like we're going to enrich 25,000 companies per month. We need industry, keyword, location, social URLs, and we'll send these information to our AI agent through a clean JSON format. So this can be a specific explanation of your workflow and data needs. So this is the first step that you should take. Step 2, decide if you need real-time data APIs or bulk data sets. The first step will already ease your way because you already explained yourself the workflow that you're going to build. You can choose between which data type, delivery type is well suited for your use case. Step 2. Yes, we provided you with a benchmark that's studied with 500 domains from randomly collected from directories. I will link it into description so you can also review it. But your use case, your market, your region, your ideal customer profile can be fully different from what we already tested. So while evaluating a provider, always pick a test list of your ICP and put them into their each provider's API and see the results yourself. Step 4, weight the files that matter for your workflow. As we already talked in this step 1, you need to understand what kind of data files that you need for your workflow. And in this step, you can score and weight them. Build a very simple table, even in Excel. Write down every file that needs to be filled for your workflow and give weights for them, each of them, and score every provider based on that. Don't let any unimportant files to lead your decision. If you find that a provider is filling a required file for you, it is the best provider for your use case. In the last step, ask pricing questions vendors don't lead with. Are files gated by any plan? Are there results caps? How are empty responses built? Or can the API sit inside a waterfall as a fallback layer? This question matters at production volume. If you're building any workflow right now or thinking of switching providers for your existing workflows, please let me know in the comments, or I'm also sharing my contact information LinkedIn page in the descriptions. I'm really happy to chat about your workflow or your data provider decisions. I hope you liked the video. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. See you on the next one.